Are you trying to eat healthy but get tired of the same old salads that you always eat? Well, how about something that is easy to make, it is absolutely delicious, and it's very healthy for you. Today, we are making a chilled lentil salad with smoked sausage. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time tuning in, let us know you're out there by giving us a big thumbs up below and then hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss a video. Now, let's start cooking. Lentils are a great idea for a salad or for a light lunch or something like that, or even as a substitute for meat because they are an incredible source of protein, high in magnesium. They are very, very high in fiber, and they're delicious. And a lot of times Americans haven't had lentils unless you go out to eat Indian food and you have dal, and dal is usually made from lentils. But lentils are a legume. They are part of the legume family, which just means that it's a seed that grows in a pod, just like greens and peas. And so for that reason, they do have some carbohydrates, not nearly as high in carbs as lots of other beans, legumes, chickpeas, that kind of thing. But they are absolutely delicious. And today we are using the green pui lentils. And I like using these lentils because when they get cooked, they still remain as a grain and they remain separate. They're still very creamy. They have a nice creamy sauce to them. But some of the other lentils, the red lentils, the coral lentils, the orange lentils, tend to break down a little bit more and become a little bit mushy. So let's look at our ingredients for this lentil salad. So we've got our lentils here, and in this case I've got a cup, 250 grams. I've got about 700 milliliters of chicken stock here. And we're going to cook these with basically a little bit of a mirepoix with onions. I've got red onion and celery, and then garlic. And then we've got a bouquet garni. And this bouquet garni is made up of some rosemary, a sprig of thyme, and some basil. And for this bouquet garni, we're just going to put that in cheesecloth and wrap it up. And this is just so we don't get too many things floating around in our lentils. And we'll just tie it up. And this way we can remove it easily, but it's going to leave all its flavor in the pot. So we're going to cook our lentils, and then we are going to chill our lentils, and we're going to make a wonderful vinaigrette. And this is kind of the key to this whole thing. We'll cook the lentils, then we'll cool them down for just a little bit, but then we're going to make this, it's basically a Dijon and apple cider vinaigrette. So for that vinaigrette, I've got 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I've got a teaspoon of dry mustard. I've got 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, and this is the good stuff. And I've got about 150 mils of oil. And for this, we're using a light oil, something like a vegetable oil. In this case, I'm using grapeseed oil. And 150 mils is about 2/3 of a cup. And then we're going to season it with some herbs, and in this case we've got some fresh chives, and we're going to chop up most of these and put them in the dressing, as well as our thyme sprigs. We're just going to take the leaves off of that, and then we'll use a couple of those just for garnish at the end. So we'll put all of that together, and we will whisk it to make our dressing, to make our vinaigrette. And of course, we can't forget our delicious smoked sausages. And you know, these are basically already cooked. So what we're going to do is we're just going to simmer them in some warm water until they firm up a little bit. And that's really all the cooking that they need, because they've already been smoked. So they will be good to go. To get started, we're just going to heat up a little bit of olive oil. And this is just enough of olive oil to sweat our vegetables. So we've just put probably a tablespoon of olive oil in our saucepan here, and we're just tossing in our onions and our celery, and we will just let those cook very slowly, and we just want them to cook until they're soft and basically translucent. And so this is a process that's called sweating. So anytime we sweat vegetables, we are going to add a little bit of salt, because that helps to bring out the water in the onions and the celery. So we just want to cook those for probably a minute or two until they are soft and translucent. Our onions and celery are getting nice and soft, and so we're going to toss in our garlic now, and we'll let that cook for about another minute or so. And by the way, you could certainly start these lentils. If you wanted to add meat to them, you could render the fat for some bacon or from some lardons, and then put your vegetables in here like this to sweat, and then and go on from there. But in this case, because we are using smoked sausage for the rest of the meal, we're just going to leave it that way, without the meat. And we just want to get our garlic softened, and just cook stirring just so nothing sticks or burns. And then once that's nice and soft, we are now just going to toss in our lentils, and just like stir them around a little bit, let them get a little bit of that oil on them. Very nice. And now what we'll do is we'll turn our heat up, all the way up, and now we're going to add our chicken stock. In this case, we're using chicken stock. By the way, for lentils, you could use chicken stock. You could use any kind of stock you want. You could use a combination of stock and coconut milk. You could use water. It doesn't really matter. It just kind of depends on how you want your lentils to be flavored. And once we've got that in, we'll stick our bouquet garni in. And now we're going to just bring this to the boil. And we're not seasoning this just yet. We will do that closer toward the end. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring it to a boil. And once it boils, we will cover it, and we'll let it simmer for 20 minutes. While our lentils are coming to the boil, we'll go ahead and we'll heat our sausage. And so I've got water in this pan about halfway up the sausage. I'm just going to bring that to a boil. Once it boils, I'll turn it way down and let it simmer, and then we'll cover it and just let it simmer covered for about 15 minutes or so. And now, in the meantime, let's do our vinaigrette. So just like in any vinaigrette we're going to add what I like to do is add in the mustard. We'll start with the mustard and toss in our dry mustard, and we'll toss in our apple cider vinegar, and we can pre-season this with a little bit of salt, just a drizzle of salt, and a little bit of freshly ground black pepper to pre-season. And now what we'll do is, just to be careful here, we will put our moistened towel down, and we're just going to whisk all those things together. And then we are just going to slowly start adding our oil to this mixture. And this is kind of like, almost like making mayonnaise. We start very slowly because we're trying to create an emulsion. That is, we're trying to combine two things that don't normally go together, namely oil and vinegar. And so we have to start off slowly in order to get that oil worked into the mixture. And this figure eight is a nice way to do your mixing here, because it's less taxing on your arm. You can work that out. And again, we're going for a vinaigrette dressing. We're not going for a thick mayonnaise or something like that. And I'm going to stop there. We still have a little bit of oil left, but I'm going to stop there and give it a taste. Oh, look at the consistency of that. Very nice. That's a nice vinaigrette consistency. It's very nice. It's tart. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting the oil in, and I think it'll be a perfect balance because this is still just a little bit tart, and it might need a little bit more salt in it. And you can always add sugar if you want to counteract the tartness of the mustard and the vinegar, but I don't think you'll need to in this, especially since it's going to be going into the lentil salad. Our lentils have now come to a nice big boil. And now we are simply going to turn the heat way down, and we're going to cover those and let them simmer for probably 20-25 minutes until they're nice and creamy. And as well, our sausage water has come to a boil. And so we're going to turn that down and cover it and just let that simmer. And now let's just finish our dressing here. Just a little bit more of our oil. Very good. And now let's add just a smidge more of our pepper, of our salt, and another couple of twists of pepper. And I think we will be there. This is a wonderful this is a wonderful dressing. You could literally just use it on just take it and just use it on a cold salad. But it's going to be especially wonderful with these lentils because the lentils will still have a little bit of warmth to them when we put the dressing on them. Then we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let it set up that way. Now, since we've got our liquids taken care of on our lentils, what we'll do now is we're just going to take our thyme and drop the leaves inside there. And this is just some wonderful, wonderful flavor. So I'm using the leaves of probably 2 sprigs of the thyme here. And as well as I'm going to reserve a few of the chives for dressing our plate, but then we will chop the rest of our chives and add those into our dressing. So, and just finely chop those up, and we're just using our knife in a rocking motion back and forth, and I'm using my knuckle on my finger to guide my knife as I slide back on the chives. This way you can get a really nice, very fine cut on your chives. And we'll add those to our dressing. Okay. Beautiful vinaigrette. Now let's taste it. Absolutely wonderful. And once it combines with the lentils, it's going to be even more fabulous. So that's it for our dressing. We'll just wait until everything else is done. It's been 20 minutes. Let's check on our lentils. And oh, nice. Okay. So, looks like a lot of the water is absorbed. And yes, that's good. All right, so what you're looking for here is, you can see there's still some liquid in the bottom there, which is fine because as this cools down, it will soak up some of that liquid. But what you're testing for at this point is to see how tender the lentils are. and they are perfectly tender. They're perfectly done. So what I'm going to do at this point is remove the bouquet garni, and we will season with a little bit of salt, because remember, we didn't season these before. We haven't seasoned them at all. So salt and some fresh ground black pepper. And now let's just stir them around. And again, you know, definitely you want that, a little bit of that water that's in the bottom of the pan here. Don't let that bother you. Now let's give them a taste. It's wonderful. I mean, honestly, it's like a piece of meat. It's just the taste is so deep in these, and it's just delicious. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transfer these to a bowl. We'll let them cool down just a little bit, and then we'll pour our vinaigrette in there, and we will then put it in the refrigerator and let it set up for about an hour, something like that. And that will be ready to eat. And then our sausages are done. We're just going to set those aside and reserve them, and they'll be ready to go. Our lentils are set for about 10 minutes and just cool down just a little bit. And now I have put my vinaigrette in a little jar. And the awesome thing about this vinaigrette is, like I said earlier, you know, if you don't use all of it on the lentil salad, you can just use it as a regular vinaigrette for a regular lettuce salad. So what we'll do now is we'll just pour a little bit over our lentils, and we're basically just going to kind of fold it in, because at this point your lentils are quite soft, and you don't want to break them up, or you want to refrain from breaking them up as much as possible. But we just really want to kind of get the individual grains coated, and you can always add a little bit extra if you'd like, but we're folding this in just like if we were folding in some egg whites to a mix. So there we have it for that part. And now we're just going to cover this and set it in our refrigerator. Let's just give it a taste first. You're not expecting it to be as tasty as it is. It's just the combination of the flavors, the deep, dark flavors of the lentils, you know, contrasted with the tartness of the vinaigrette and the sweetness of that vinaigrette with the lentils. It's just a wonderful, wonderful flavor. So we're just going to let this sit in the refrigerator, and you know, you want to let it set for at least an hour. You know, you could make this the day before that you're going to serve a lunch. Put it in your refrigerator and just pull it out, you know, 30 minutes before lunch, mix it again, and serve it for lunch. So it's just really easy, and it's something you can do it ahead of time, and it's just the taste just increases as it sits. Our lentil salad is chilled and it is ready to go. This is just such a magical dish. So to plate it, just a pile of the salad right in the center of your plate. And then what we'll do is we'll place our sausages all around. Just like that. And in this case today, I'm going to add a little bit of arugula, or as they say in Europe, rocket salad. And we'll top it with our chives and our thyme. Extra flavor, and one sprig of thyme here, and Let's add just a little bit of our dressing to our salad on top. Fantastic. Okay. And we'll finish it with a few tomatoes. Just for pretty sake. And there we have it. So, chilled lentil salad with smoked sausages. All right, let's give it a taste, shall we? All right. Of course, I always like to get a little bit of the sausage and then some of the lentils on top of that. Great combination of flavors. You got the deep, almost umami flavor of the lentils, the smokiness of the sausage, and balanced out with the salad. The acid and the sharpness of the salad. Really a great combination of flavors. And it's a fantastic choice for lunch. You can use it as a starter or for lunch. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. Hope you enjoy the channel. If you do, hit that like button down below and feel free to subscribe. It's absolutely free. And ring the bell and tell your friends and hit that share button. We'll see you next time.